Hierarchical organizations is simply an organizational structure where every single entity except one reports into the other. This is the way most organizations are structured, and it's probably the way your organization is structured. The idea of a hierarchical organization actually originated from the church governance, with the Pope being at the very top, and then there's cardinals and bishops and priests and deacons underneath them. It was a way to organize the church. Now, most organizations simply use this hierarchical approach, but we've begun to see a shift from this hierarchical approach to a more network-oriented approach with smaller teams and less layers of management. Now, this is a radical shift, and in order for it to be effective, it requires an extremely skilled workforce. Now, I'm not saying your organization can't make this jump. What I am saying is it's going to be a very difficult jump, and it could cause a lot of headaches. So instead of making that big jump, I think there's a better way to do it, one that you can keep this approach but make it work better. Here it is. The person at the very top thinks and acts for the people at the very bottom. Because when they do this, people will take notice, and everyone will emulate their behavior in the organization at every single level. Now, I heard a story this weekend that relates to this. It's a religious example, but I think it applies here. There was an American soldier captured by the Japanese in World War II, and he was thrown into a prisoner of war camp. But unlike most prisoners of war, this man was treated extremely well. He was actually given 3 meals a day, given time to exercise. About the same time that he was thrown in jail, a Japanese soldier broke a serious violation, and they threw that Japanese soldier into the cell with him. But instead of being treated like the American, he was treated the opposite. He was barely given any food, and once or twice a day he would be pulled out of his cell and he would be beaten. This went on for months and months. These two men actually became friends, and the American soldier would save food. He would do things to help the man. When he would come back in from being beaten, he would actually take care of his wounds. One particular day, the Japanese man was beaten so badly, the American man knew immediately that he wasn't going to make it through the night. So as he was taking care of his wounds that day, the American man looked down at him and he said, "It doesn't look like you're going to make it. Would you like to know about Jesus?" The Japanese man replied, "I have heard about Jesus in the past, but if he is anything like you and how you've treated me, I think I already know him." Now, the point of this story is not to get religious on you or talk about Jesus. The point is the American soldier was living out the beliefs and serving another person. This is exactly how hierarchical organizations can still work. And in many ways, it might be the only way. When the leader at the top understands that they are leading for the people at the bottom and their actions and their behaviors reflect it, a hierarchical organization can still work. Because then these leaders at every level will mimic that CEO or president at the top. It will create more leaders in an organization just by the CEO or the president acting like a servant leader and having the mentality of not being on a pedestal, but instead being at the bottom. So if you have a hierarchical organization and you're not the CEO, think of this story about the man in camp. How can you act like and serve the people below you? Because when you do that, this approach can and will work.